Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever for a 1v1 ladder cast from the past. Yes, this is a very old replay. I don't think it's ever been casted before, but it is gonna be a banger. It's on the map Osiris, and it's gonna be a grand old time, so make sure you have yourself a drink and or snack, and make sure that you turn on notifications for this channel or subscribe if you haven't already, because this is being casted live. You could show up and put memes in chat all you want and get ignored while I cast. So that is a wonderful, wonderful way for you to get engaged with the community. And without a further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our players, starting with the red UEF to the north. He is going first land, and his name, of course, is Silent Noob. And then down to the south, we have another UEF. He is blue, and he is one of the OG people who have been around the channel for such a long time. It is none other than Icy Nightmare. And with the players introduced, let's go ahead and, what's the button? This button. Do this, because people have been asking me to do the Guile thing where you can see their openers. And I'm going to talk about the map a little bit once we're done looking at their openers. Generally, I think that this map really requires a fast second air. If you want to be competitive, you're going to have to be dropping for these islands most likely. And of course, it's going to be a grand engagement between these two UEF players. In my opinion, the hardest Navy faction, mainly because they are so compositionally based. Once you get the composition, it's the most brain-dead faction to play, but you have to rely on being able to reach that phase of the game. I think that air might play a very big role. Storks are strong, and of course these players will be very well aware of air micro. And now that we have the openers pretty much sorted out, let's look at the map more. It is very much so reminiscent of Crossfire Canal. Crossfire Canal with more water. You have the 6 kind of slices here that are really important to hold on to, and these players are going to have to fight for them. There's probably going to be a lot of drops, some drop wars. You're going to see a lot of contesting the middle waters and maybe a sneaky flank around to try and get into production for the enemy side. But in general, it's a very, very interesting map, and I might even try playing it on stream sometime later on whenever I'm doing a gameplay stream. And yes, of course, this is a ladder match. It is an older one, 1500 and 1700 respectively. Icy Nightmare, the underdog in this one if you're going off of the ratings. We have a bunch of air units now coming out, interceptors and scouts. Let's go ahead and see exactly what Silent Noob does get to see. Right now, he has seen the entire main base. He sees engineers heading out. Does he have a bomber? No, he doesn't. He's looking for transports. He wants to stop the transports. He's also looking for interceptors. If he can take a very good fight, that will be helpful for him. A scout for Icy Nightmare is going to make it out. Critically, Silent Noob got his air factory up much quicker, but I think Icy might be investing into his second air factory much sooner. So in the long run, Icy will have an advantage, but here in the very, very early game, he is disadvantaged in comparison to his opponent. He does get a full scout off, does see that there is a transport on its way over to this western island right now. Where is that transport going specifically? Well, we don't know because the waypoint decided to mess up, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's going for maybe an engineer on this island and then the rest of the engineers over here to the westernmost island, because you don't want to drop all of your engineers right here. Would probably be a little bit ill-advised. In fact, no. Oh, let's see. How many are you gonna drop? How many are you gonna drop, you little transport? 3. Interesting. I would have gone with 1 or 2 and then dropped the rest right here. As we see Icy getting into the water very early. He has his first frigate already 10% done. Meanwhile, the naval factory for Silent Noob not even done yet. Bomber out from Silent Noob may try and get aggressive on the airplay, as over here to the west we do see those 3 engineers about to land, and this is going to be very threatening for Icy. He presumably should get this island over here to the west, but instead is seemingly having struggles with the entire expansion side of the game right now. He's not expanding nearly as quickly as Silent Noob. He's doing a little bit better on Reclaim, and by a little bit, he has 3 times as much, and he's just generated more mass in total because of that Reclaim advantage. He's a little bit behind on mass income because, of course, he has a few less T1 mexes than his opposition, but overall, he should be in a okay position, and Silent Noob is also going to be happy with his position, already setting up some factories over here on this western island, getting ready to take the fight to Icy's main island, to his homeland, and that will be very spicy indeed when it does come to fruition. As over here to the west, this could be dangerous. If these bombers manage to kill off all 3 engineers, then this area is honestly kind of just... Oh, wow. Okay. That changes it. This island is completely lost for Silent Noob. There's no way that an engineer dodges 2 different bombers multiple times in a row. Unless the bombers don't drop their bombs, in which case that's a little bit unfortunate. He's trying to run the engineer away. That's not gonna work, and does manage to dodge that bomb. He's gonna try and get his own interceptors in the area, but not sure how well that's gonna go for him. Bombs coming out of these bombers. That engineer doing its best to stay alive. It's doing a quite the dance. But come on, it can't get away with this forever. Oh, nope, never mind. It's gonna just die because Icy gets here first. Icy, his wall, I think he's changed this since then, but the wall template deciding to go for walls first on the PD template, which is an interesting change. I don't normally see that. Engineer Wars. Our first frigate out from Icy Nightmare is going to make its way over here to the production line of Silent Noob. He's going to start firing into this factory and mostly just dealing damage to a building frigate. And he's going to be forced to run away, which is really bad. The Thunderhead class frigate only having a gun on the front means that it's unable to really return fire when running away, but luckily did run away in time. A couple of engineers drop here in the middle to grab up some reclaim. Speaking of reclaim, Silent Noob now ahead. Silent Noob just ahead economically in general, as interceptors are about to land on top of engineers. That's a weird situation. Well, very peaceful. And not so peaceful anymore. All right. Over here to the north of that little central island, we have ourselves a 3-on-2 frigate infarction. These players going up against each other in the waters, as I had a hiccup. Ooh, that felt weird. You ever have a hiccup while talking? It really just... Your throat and lungs don't enjoy it. As over here to east, we got ourselves a couple of engineers dropped for Silent Noob. Does seem as though these players are going to end up splitting the map 50-50 after all is said and done. And the air game just got really difficult for Icy Nightmare. Just lost almost all of his interceptors. That's not going to feel too good for him. And over here to the north, did manage to kill off one of the frigates of Silent Noob. And Silent Noob making an ill-fated rally point there. His frigate gonna pay for a sloppy rally point, and that's gonna really hurt. Yeah, this frigate either gonna just it might straight up die. I mean, another frigate's coming out. Icy Nightmare deciding to flinch and pull back there, trying to stop another transport from landing with engineers, and he may just do it. No, 50 HP. That's a heartbreak moment there. That central island almost assuredly going to go to Silent Noob. Icy really just not playing with transports. He had a transport out at some point. He did use it to drop over here to the west, but where are the rest of his transport games? Because that's a very important thing you have to look at these higher levels of play. Not quite tip-top of the ladder, but both players respectable. As we have submarine on submarine violence, this is only going to end one way. When there is equal numbers of submarines, both sides lose submarines equally. That was almost poetic. All right. Well, now we get to look at the spicy moments. And the spicy moments right now are Icy throwing a lot more production at his one factory. He is opting for just one factory versus a line of factories. There are competing schools of thought on exactly which is better. The lines of factories, I think, are overall worse than just assisting. You still want multiple factories, don't get me wrong, but just assisting your factories, I think the line method is a little bit worse than it, because you will throw the same amount of mass into Navy either way, but you'll be producing each individual unit faster, if that makes sense. So you don't have a situation where you have 5 factories with each with a frigate that's 70% complete. Instead, you have 2 or 3 factories that have already completed 1 or 2 frigates. It's weird. There's really not much debate. Both can work and both are perfectly fine. Play however you want to play, of course. I just personally find that I like the assisting factories one a little bit more. As over here to the east, Icy gonna make an aggressive play. He's just gonna walk his commander over to this eastern island, and I don't really know what's gonna be able to stop him. He's going for T2, especially if he gets that, just walks up on land and starts building T1 and T2 PD everywhere. Meanwhile, over here to the west, we do have a transport trying to drop onto the island over here, but that's just ill-fated, never gonna work properly. And right now, we're gonna see that transport go down, drop a bunch of mass onto that hydro, and this engineer gonna be more than happy to... Whoa. Okay, I guess he really wanted adjacency there. You're gonna reclaim this, right, Icy? 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 It's 300 mass! Come on, boy! Come on, suck it up! Get the mass! Clean up! Use those damn Roombas! Those engineer Roombas! Alrighty, so... over here to... the center of the map, we do have a bit of a weird situation. We're gonna have Storks coming out from Silent Noob. Those torpedo bombers gonna be very efficient at killing off these frigates. Well, actually, I don't know if they're efficient at killing off frigates. Frigates do have decent AA against specifically torpedo bombers. You can see their HP going down, but they're gonna pass and kill off a few of them, as right now the Navy looking rather anemic for Icy Nightmare in comparison to the chonky boy that is Silent Noob. Silent Noob just seeming to have a slight edge throughout this game so far, but Icy is about to make a big play. T2 finishes up on the commander. Did he give it a previous move order? No, he didn't. So here's something I don't know. This was 2 years ago. I don't know if 2 years ago they had this. I don't know if this was default when this game was played, so he may not have noticed that. He does need to notice it, though. He needs to use that comm. He's just invested a lot into it. Meanwhile, over here to the west, we have ourselves a couple of drops. These Lobo's going to be dangerous, but there's already a decent number of strikers just going to show up and kill this off. We'll maybe even see a bit of a switch from strikers to mech marines out of this factory, just to get that little bit more damage done. But just constant drops coming out from Silent Noob trying to put pressure onto Icy Nightmare. And that's just a bunch of walls. There is no PD there. It was a decoy template. Icy's comm still just chilling over here, not bothering to send it in. I really feel he needs to send it in. I know he's distracted over here, but something you got to pay attention to. And also the reclaim over here is going to be mounting up. Gonna be a decent little chunk. And Icy dealing with drops on his main island, and he just loses a T2 mechs. Oh no, that's really gonna hurt. Oh wait, no, that was a radar. Okay. Oh no, it was e-storage. He does the e-storage thing where he does this. Well, those e-storages are down. And of course, over here to the west, we have Stinger gunship out from Silent Noob. Stingers and all of the T2 gunships, except for maybe the Spectre. I will admit fault with the Aeon when it's needed. Except for maybe the Spectre are pretty good at harassment like this, just killing off a few mexes here and there. Getting these couple of mexes, forcing out the APM from Icy to replace those, just hurting his economy temporarily. It's a very nice little raid coming out from the Stinger. Now, that wasn't necessarily good. Didn't get nearly enough damage to warrant the Stinger going out there, because the reclaim is going to be very valuable. As more Stingers are out on the map trying to harass, trying to just pull Icy Nightmare apart. And of course, that's going to mean that we're looking at a mid-game where Icy is just going to be a little bit behind. He's about 20 mass a second behind. He's already gotten up to T2 Navy, but so has his opposition. There's already a T3 sonar for Silent Noob. How much does a sonar even cost to run? Is it really? That is cheap. That's a T2 Pigeon. I mean, I guess it's not even half as useful as an Omni, but still, that's cheap. Another Lobo drop on this island. Icy just unable to stop this constant drop aggression coming out from Silent Noob. He is really struggling with it, and he is rebuilding and redoing these things quickly, but also just taking blows that he's not able to inflict similar damage with on the opposition. And of course, we will have to see how this progresses, but Icy in a bit of a rough position, but by no means out of it just yet. Still gonna be able to combat his red opponent, and does have a Governor out, which could come in very handy for just sniping off one or two mexes before having to run away. As over here to the west, this island needs to be responded to by Icy. These Lobos continuing to get value. Also would love to see some reclaim happening. There's 3,000 now on this island. And Icy is struggling, down half the reclaim of Silent Noob. Another transport goes down. These transports really are starting to become just mass gifts, as we see a bunch of Stinger gunships coming in to try and harass. That's a T2 mechs. That could be huge. And that is indeed going to be, as the Stingers focus down that mechs, that's going to be a very big blow to Icy Nightmare's economy. He is slightly ahead economically at the moment from getting a bunch of T2 mechs finished up. But he's going to lose a couple of those right now, as Silent Noob has just gone whole hog into the air game. Icy starting to throw up some flack with that T2 commander. But where is he gonna find some damage back down onto Silent Noob? Silent Noob just getting so much raiding done with these gunships. Somebody get an air raid siren, because it's about to get dangerous here. The civilians are about to be slaughtered in mass. As the Stingers come in, killing off all of the build power that was assisting that T2 Naval Yard. Icy does have more engineers to throw onto that, but that's going to be a painful blow. And you can really see where the reclaim is. It's all on Icy's side of the map. He just needs to get involved in reclaiming, and I think he can really catch up economically to Silent Noob with total mass generated. And Icy currently in a huge naval engagement now with Silent Noob, who is, I think, winning it. He just has more T2 units in the direct vicinity. He has more destroyers, and those are really what's going to decide this here. His bulwark hasn't gone down. It's going to come back up. The bulwark of Icy dangerously close to death. And also dangerously close to enemy destroyers. And in comes a single torpedo, and it hits a Governor. Sag. As the shield boats for both sides about to flick back on. And these players going to continue their battles. Navy going relatively even. IC definitely winning the T1 side of the naval battle, getting a lot more damage down onto the frigates of Silent Noob. But Silent Noob winning the T2 side, where he just has more T2 units out in the field. And that's going to be a bit of a quiet moment now for us on the map. We can go ahead and take a moment just to look at the economies. 95 mass a second for Silent Noob versus 98 for Icy Nightmare. 13,000 reclaim for Silent Noob versus 8.9 thousand for Icy Nightmare. Yet again, this could be a lot of reclaim. There's still, I mean, it was 3,000 earlier. He's only reclaimed like a couple hundred there. And over here to the east, another drop coming out of Lobos to be dropped on to, I would guess, the main base. He's gonna go whole hog main base. IC has seen that, hasn't he? There's no way he hasn't. Yeah, he sees the transports and he is responding. So that is good to see out from IC, finally getting some. I mean, he has shot down a lot of the transports, but gonna be getting some more preemptive defense going on. Does set up the interceptors right here. Needs to be careful, needs to make sure he does catch these transports. There's 3 now on the way. These constant transports heading out, trying to cause damage to Icy Nightmare. This transport dropping just engineers. This one has Lobos, and no, it's getting, Icy, you can see it! You can see it, Icy! It's there! Dispatch the interceptors, Icy! Oh, it hurts to see. It really does. Hurts my soul. Oh, the interceptors maybe will get this first transport. Will they intercept it in time? No, they're gonna stop just short! What is this? What's going on? Somebody hold me! Well, that transport goes down, but the other one gonna be heading into the base, and it's gonna drop right next to a T2 mechs. That's just gonna be real painful for Icy Nightmare, yet again losing economy. I think he is marginally winning the naval game, though, as we have a development over here on the western side. We have Riptides, which are now about to make their way onto this island. This island really doesn't have the defenses to deal with it. He'll have to rely on air power to stop these Riptides. But that's going to be a very good unit to have. Would still love to see more reclaim going on. Is Icy spending all of his mass? Yeah, he could definitely use it. Even another large reclaim field right here. I'm going to keep pointing it out because neither player particularly interested in just getting a bunch of reclaim. I know it was 2 years ago, but the meta hasn't changed that much in this decades-old game. It was 13 years old whenever this game was played in 2020. As the Riptides come in, gonna be able to kill off a lot of the core structures here in the infrastructure. More Riptides gonna be able to make their way across. These Lobos could get kills onto the Riptides, but it really heavily depends on if the Riptides are microed. If Icy is microing those Riptides, then that is going to be much harder ask for the... Whoa! Those Valiants and some of the frigates now firing in towards the Riptides. And those machine gun tanks starting to mow down Lobos left and right. And more Riptides trying to make their way on land, but gonna be buffeted off of the position. Is that the right word? Is buffeted? Forced off? I don't know. There's just gonna be a buffet of violence. That's all I know. Lots of violence and a huge drop over here to the east that I did notice earlier but didn't feel like pointing out, Icy Nightmare now striking back against Silent Noob, who has been doing the vast majority of the aggressive and harassing plays this game. Icy looking better for wear as of the moment. Somehow did not manage to lose this T2 mech to that Lobo drop. Very interesting. As Icy is just drops on drops on drops right now. Really making Silent Noob get a taste of his own medicine. And here in the center, he's managed to build up quite a strong naval presence. 2 bulwarks versus no bulwarks is usually going to go the way of the player with 2 bulwarks, although I don't really like the naval micro here. You see, this must have been a little bit before he really played with Thurnis and I, because he doesn't seem to understand the naval micro here. For anybody curious, what should you do? How should you move your units? What you should do is, I'll show you really quick. I have it bound to Control S for select boats, or Control Shift S to select boats on screen. You give a move order, and then you control click on you can hold Control and Shift, click on destroyers, cruisers, shield boats, anything T2, and then you alt right click, and they will stay at max range. And that's the most efficient way to micro your navy, because it keeps the frigates and the T1 subs, if you're building them for some reason, it keeps them in front. It keeps them in the face of your opponent taking the hits, and it keeps your more valuable units in the back just dealing damage. It's a very, very good way to quickly increase the effectiveness of your force. But if you're playing like Icy and you just have more shit, well, we like to say here, more shit counters less shit, and he just took a decisive fight, leaving his opponent down to just a few Coopers. That is going to be painful for the red UEF. He tried to come around for somewhat of a pincer movement, somewhat of a flank. Doesn't seem like that's going to be too successful. As over here to the east, we have more strikers showing up on this island. He's just constantly dropping more and more. But there's a few defenses being dug in by Silent Noob. Needs to start dropping some artillery if he wants to break that position. As we have an engineer drop for the reclaim field. That's going to be our first instance of somebody really going hard for reclaim. I should have worded that better, but hey. And these engineers going to be pivotal to this game right now, because we won't be able to see how much reclaim they get individually, but as long as they are reclaiming, this is going to be very big. Nearing 20,000 reclaim for Silent Noob, but Icy has been sitting on an economic advantage, so he's still keeping up economically despite being so far down in reclaim totals. But these engineers are going to start really becoming important very soon. There is still 5,000 reclaim on this island. Zoom at 3,000. I think a little bit of the naval reclaim is showing up on screen there. You see, you got to get on the reclaim, buddy. But Silent Noob doing very well. I do like the amount of Coopers in his force. Coopers are going to be very strong here. And I also like that he is doing all of this harassment, doing very well with the gunships, doing very well with the drops. I think that he's really going to have to focus over here on this eastern island. Does not want to cede that to Icy. Wants to be careful here, as a destroyer is running away from some frigates and a submarine. Or some submarines. 3 frigates, 3 submarines. Sextant units, I don't know. Sectuple units. Cruiser Wars! That's a fun little interaction there. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that heavily. Oh man. So, here we are. We've solidly reached the mid-game by now. We're sitting around 30 minutes. T3 Navy may be in the sights of either of these players here soon. A battle cruiser could be huge. Or even T3 Air. T2 Air has been achieved for a long time for Silent Noob, and he's already got T3 Air finished up, but he didn't build a power generator first, instead of opting to try and brute force out a strat bomber. Realizing his mistake now is going to build that power generator while the strat bomber is paused. The cruiser now going to be used to try and enact damage onto the defenses over here. Icy will be able to see that there is a strat bomber indeed building, and that should be cause to worry, but he is sitting on a decent number of cruisers, and cruisers can very easily take down those dangerous strat bombers. As we wait to see what's going to go on, factory is being built in a forward manner over here. 31,000 reclaim versus 6. Wait, was that right? 9.6 thousand. And Icy down nearing 30,000 total mass generated this game. But he's taking such good trades with Silent Noob. Sitting on a kill to loss ratio of 1.46 versus 0.66. That is quite the accomplishment right there. As over here to the east, Striker is going to continue to kill off some of these structures on this island. As an engineer walking over, going to capture a mech or two. Icy definitely wrestling map control away from Silent Noob. But now with T3 Air finished up, with broadswords and ambassadors now gracing the field with their presence, Icy has got to be worried. And all of those T1 PD have been dispatched now, so Icy can go in for the kill on those T2 mexes. Over here in the center, a naval fight brewing. Let's go ahead and check on right here in the middle. We have a grand total of 28,000 mass worth of naval units for Icy Nightmare versus 25,000 for Silent Noob. Where is the strat bomber and those broadswords? Up here to the northwest. Remember to take a drink, everybody. Stay hydrated. It's important. As Silent Noob going to be coming in with this strategic bomber. And he is going to be trying to enact some kind of damage, some kind of pain onto Icy Nightmare. Meanwhile, in the middle, the Navy's flirting with engagement. They're thinking about getting married. Thinking about getting hitched. About tying that knot. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that momentarily, as it does seem that Icy is just picking a fight in the middle Navy. Let's go ahead and go watch that instead. Seems more interesting. As the UEF units collide, Icy trying his damnedest to just brute force his way through the middle. And there's that age-old saying, if brute force isn't working, you're not using enough of it. His bulwark over here getting massive value for Icy, as his units continue to fight. Does seem as though he's going to retract from the battle right now, but the issue is every time he takes a fight like this, he doesn't have any engineers over here reclaiming. And that strat bomber most likely still hasn't come in. Strat bomber just not being used for whatever reason. Where did the broadswords go? Where'd the broadswords go? They are somewhere around here. They die? You send broadswords in to fight Navy? If so, that's silly. It was very silly. But I guess he did. Because nothing else here really makes much sense. And despite having that strat bomber just sitting back here, not really gonna try and abuse that. Icy's comm has just been a world traveler. Just walking around everywhere. Going for T3 Navy now is Icy Nightmare. T3 Navy already completed for Silent Noob, and he's about to be done with a Neptune-class battlecruiser. 35 minutes in, and Silent Noob is still looking like the stronger player out of the two. This ambassador to the southwest corner. Really, really disappointing. Just, on break. And over here to the east, cruiser. He's having a good time. He's just shooting down a bunch of torpedo bombers and normal bombers. Up to 3 ranks of veterancy, has really paid himself off. 10,000 mass killed on a cruiser is not bad. You know what? The worst part about him just having the ambassador sitting there, either it sits there in the entire game and I'm paranoid that it's going to do something cool and I'll miss it, or it'll do something cool right when I forget that it's sitting there. Those are the two options. I think he maybe forgot that it exists. Just sitting there in the corner. As he's starting to build Continentals and more broadswords to throw at naval units and die. And that's a Continental worth of Lobos. Okay. That seems dangerous. And Icy should have been able to see it. I don't know. Probably not, actually. Not give him the benefit of the doubt that he was looking right there, right then. Icy has taken a strong lead on map control. But Silent Noob just has the tech advantage. He already has out the first battle cruiser. He's already got T3 air. Icy doesn't even have T2. The only thing Icy's winning on technology-wise is he has T2 land on a Navy map. And Riptides are not that good. The battle in the middle is about to sour for Icy. Although, no, it's about to equalize as he does build up his own battle cruiser. And rebuilds a T2, or builds a T2 naval support factory to help him with production of T2 units. Wants to keep up the oh so important composition. He's going for another battle cruiser, not opting for a battleship just yet. It's going to be 2 battle cruisers, and Icy's second battle cruiser will get here sooner than the second battle cruiser of Silent Noob, despite finishing later, because it's just the sheer distance involved in the travel time. Ambassador still sitting in the corner. And Governor over here still just trying to get some damage done. It's managed to regen to full HP and get another rank of veterancy. So that's interesting. As we have that giant Continental, I guess, dropped all of its Lobos right here. Yeah, that seems to be the only thing that would make sense. But it's just going to get a couple of mexes. Not too much damage down onto Icy Nightmare. I think that Icy or Silent Noob should go for a battleship. I understand that the battlecruiser is better against T1 and T2 naval targets, but once you get the battleship, you force the other one to invest the exact same amount. Because the battleship will be able to... It can kill T2 and T1 naval units just fine, but it can also more easily deal with battlecruisers than anything else. And also, with its extended range, especially in a UEF mirror matchup, you're going to be able to just pound on these shields. Neither side wanting to take a full-on naval engagement, though. Wait, one of the battlecruisers went down. The battlecruiser for Silent Noob went down. Oh, that's... Oh, it's a disaster. Silent Noob is just behind on Navy. IC should totally build a battleship right after this. IC, the next unit, if it's another Neptune, I'm going to be very sad with you. Summit is what you need. Come on. Give me a summit. Damn it, he's just going to spam battlecruisers. You won the naval engagement. You already have more Neptunes. Build a summit. This silly, silly man. The one time he's not sitting in my stream chat. As we press the 40-minute mark, we're no closer to finding our victor, but Icy looking strong in the Navy. Meanwhile, the air still going very well for Silent Noob, even if he does forget that he built a strat bomber. I mean, the strat bomber got one kill, and that kill was onto an interceptor. I'm pretty sure. Or a scout. It's only 40 mass worth of kill. As over here to the east, Governor gonna be killing off the T2 Naval HQ of Silent Noob. What a powerful statement. Out from the blue UEF. Yep, now that is officially dead. And despite having massively overwhelming... Wait, he doesn't have air control. Silent Noob doesn't have air control because he hasn't built any ASF. Yeah, broadswords are good, but if they die to interceptors, they're just as bad as stingers. Oh, it's a disaster. It's the naval engagement in the middle. We missed it, but... Silent Noob has managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I thought he had it, but it just seems like everything's going wrong. Icy's just like, hey, you see this island? This is yours? No, this is mine. He's just like, nope, that's mine. He's taking the map. He's taking the map. He's better at taking trades. He has almost a 2-to-1, or a 2-to-0. He has almost a 2.0 kill to loss ratio. Getting a 2.0 kill to death ratio in a shooter is good. Getting it in a RTS is massive. Doesn't matter that he's made 60,000 less resources if his resources are just worth twice as much. This total mass generated, he may as well have generated 500,000 mass at this point, considering his kill to loss ratio. Oh, it's a disaster. Silent Noob had the first, 30 minutes of this game on lock, was destroying it. I don't know if he can recover from this situation. I mean, there's still time. He still has a chance left in this game. He still has an overwhelmingly big economy. But... what? How? Icy is like Jedi mind tricked him into not building ASF for some reason. Another drop of Lobos going to the main base, but Icy's dealt with 1,000 of these by now. He just doesn't care. He doesn't even care that he's down on mass generation, it would seem. I hope he does notice this quickly, though. He does have bombers that can just deal with it. You have to take into account these players are getting a bit tired of the game at this point. 43 minutes in, it starts to wear on you. And I mean, you can even see that right now with Silent Noob, because he's mainly killing off T1 Pigeons that Icy doesn't need. As a naval engagement about to kick off for Icy. He wants to push in. He wants to go for the jugular. He's building a bunch of T1 subs, which I don't quite understand, but okay. He's not responding to this nearly as quickly as I think he should. Bit scary. As the navies start to meet here in the middle, one Neptune already going down for Icy. But there's 4 Neptunes in the area. Holy crap, he is building Neptunes quickly. Silent Noob has mastered the Neptune production chain. And that was a bad trade for Icy. If he had gone for a battleship like his wise hindsight is 2020 friend told him to, this wouldn't be so much of a problem. Actually, if he'd just gone for multiple battleships, which he could have built by now. But I'm not here... Oh. I was about to say, I'm not here to judge Icy or Silent Noob. But Silent Noob's about to have a bad day. You know what? I guess not. The Triads kind of just deal with it. Over here to the west, we have a bunch of Lobos now being dropped on this island as well. Icy did manage to clean up these over here. Looks like he did it with the bomber. And Riptides! Where'd they come from? Oh, Riptides are just walking onto the main base! They're gonna kill T3 mexes! They have such DPS! Much wow! Oh, wow. Okay. You know what? Having a great economy, I have all of this great infrastructure and you can never hurt me, and then Icy just walks in because there's a fucking open barn door. Alright, yep, sure. Nice infrastructure. It'd be a shame if somebody just fucking hovered in and destroyed all of it. Broadsword's gonna come out, but I don't think it has the DPS to kill off all the Riptides in time. And not to mention the overwhelming air control Icy is exhibiting at the moment. And Icy's just gonna keep dropping stuff onto the main island of Silent Noob. He said, well, I did it over here to the east, why not do it to the north? And Silent Noob is losing economy at a rapid pace. He still should win the naval engagement, he just has more navy. I mean, I know he's even losing this, because it's just Neptunes and Bulwarks. And Neptunes and Bulwarks get out DPS'd by even T1 submarines, I'm pretty sure. Although Icy said he was, quote, I quote, much better at the game at this time. I also want to point out, it's 46 minutes in and he has 17,000 reclaim. And just near his main base, there's 9,000. I mean, if you look here, there's 26,000. Icy, I don't know if you were much better at the game or if just the level of play is increased. As we see Icy slowly encroaching onto the main base of Silent Noob. Those drops getting a lot of value, and it just seems like Silent Noob's been picked apart. He just doesn't have a response to what Icy is pulling off here. As this Neptune gonna meet a cruel fate. It was just born into the world and it's about to be taken out of it. And it's starting to feel like it might just be over. The ambassador is still sitting in the corner, taking the world's longest coffee break. And Icy Nightmare has won the naval war. And here soon, I would guess, is gonna win the entirety of it. The only option left for a win for Silent Noob, I feel, is a snipe. And even that would be relatively difficult. He doesn't have air control. He's built up a couple of ASF, but that's not gonna matter whenever there's nearing 100 interceptors, I would guess. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them need fuel. Icy is always telling me to build air staging, but he hasn't built any himself this game. For shame. Dare you not be perfect, Icy. And... yeah, that T3 air factory is about to die. This game is so damn beautiful. It's also really loud. Down goes the T3 Air HQ. The GG is called, and Silent Noob control case. Thank you all for watching. You all have been beautiful. Thank you to the channel members and Patreons who make this channel oh so much more successful. You all are so damn beautiful. I love you. Like, subscribe, comment down below what your favorite ice cream is or something, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Willow, signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the